Donald Loria, you're in the studio today. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
So could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Donald Loria. I'm an architect, industrial engineer, topographic engineer. I live here in Nosara by 16 years. I was born in Nicoya town. A few times ago. And after that, but I grew up in San Vito, next to the Panama border. After that, I moved to San Jose for the study in the universities. When I finished at university, I moved to here, to Guanacaste. And after that, specifically, I moved to Nosara.
Gotcha. So where do I start first? You have a lot of different titles. So you're a surveyor now?
Mm-hmm.
Engineer, architect.
Yes.
What else?
And I have a 2 master degree. The 1 master degree in business development in the ICAP. This is the International Institute for the Governments for Central America, Panama, and Belize and Dominican Republic.
So that's your first master's degree?
Yes, exactly. And the second one is I have another one in the administration of the quality, security, and the environmental in the University Viña del Mar of Chile.
Wow. So that's a lot of time in a classroom.
Yes, exactly. But yes, it's every time I like to study. This is the situation for me. It's very nice. I like it.
So Prendis Loria is the name of your business, or do you say it Prendis Loria?
Yes, exactly. It's because my name is Donald Loria Prendas, and I put the name of my company, the inverse, Prendas Loria, with my 2 last name.
Gotcha. So give us an update on some projects like you've done around the area so anyone listening might connect some of your work with you.
Okay, for example, our website is www.prendasloria.com. This is very easy to find the information about us. The people can to see many examples of the different projects and the style we development in the last year here in this area of Nosara.
Gotcha. What are a couple recent projects that people would know you from?
For example, this is the people recognize that, for example, the project of the Olas Verdes, the Hotel Olas Verdes. Mm-hmm. And the Hotel Lagarta Lodge.
Gotcha. Also. So those are 2 of the bigger ones. So you've worked on hotels, residential houses, and I guess you've been doing residential houses in our area for 16 years now?
Yes, exactly. We develop different projects. For example, with our residentials, one of the example is, for example, the J House is the house we developing around the 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. We developed many houses in the Finca La Reina project by the Nosara town. And we developed, for example, Casa Hermandad, Casa La Perla. Yes, it's many houses in the Guiones Beach Club. And yes, and for example, the another one is in the 506. We developed many projects in the yes.
So you've been pretty busy.
Yes, every time we are happy because every time we have a work.
I got you. So here's an interesting question. So working in real estate, being an architect, mm-hmm. What do you think about Nosara's growth in recent years? Do you think it's going well? Or are we growing too fast? Are we growing about right? Like, what's your opinion?
In my opinion, for example, is Nosara growing normal, no fast, no slowly, is normal. The problem is Nosara doesn't have enough service. For example, the internet service, for example, is not to compare with the growing to the town. For example, to pick the recollection to pick up the trash mm-hmm. came to very late. Example is so very extreme why the municipality didn't pay attention before. Example, the road is not accessible. For example, the service for the health isn't enough. When I say the service for the health, I talk about the public service because when the town's growing, also for tourists, also have a more local workers, and the local workers need more doctors, need more pharmacy, need a more many kind of the service, but in this moment no growing.
So let's talk about the temporary building regulations that are going around. What's your opinion on those? Are you in favor of the temporary regulations, or are you not in favor of them? Tell us your thoughts.
Okay, it's a very good question. The most important situation is, of course, Nosara need to have regulations because, for example, the characteristics or the secret or the space of Nosara is maintains in the paradise. With the situation is we don't need to have, for example, hotels for the 10 floors, for example, affected complete the view or the of Nosara, similar to the Tamarindo, similar to the Jaco or anywhere. Exactly, but by the another situation is also this this regulation affect in the bad situation and indirect the other big group of people. This is, for example, that people live in La Esperanza, local people of La Esperanza, local people from Nosara, local people from Santa Marta. For one of the examples is the subdivisions, for example, of the properties and what is the area they...
Okay, so you are for regulations. Do you agree with every single point of the temporary regulations, or you agree with some of it and not with others?
Okay, for example, I agree with the different with the general concept. It's a very good concept. The general concept of the idea is very good, for example, but the problem is with the different points can to affect to the people are indirect involved in the for to live in this area. For example, the people of La Esperanza, the people from the Santa Marta, and the people from Nosara town. The very is ultra very important to know how live these people. Normally, they have one property. This property they receive for their parents, and they want to subdivide for have a one space for each daughter, each son. This is the situation. Mm-hmm. They need to build houses, but the property is not enough big, and they can't too big. For example, they can to build, for example, houses with a lot of setbacks, with a many situations. For example, it's more easy, for example, for the people for the American project. For the American project, the people can to buy a big lot. It's not good to subdivide it or in the 10 parts they can to or anything. But in these people, the local people affected a lot of about the regulations. And they not will receive any benefits because how the local people can to buy properties because right now the price of the land is very high. In Esperanza is very high for they. The only option is subdivide properties and receive, for example, the piece of land for they can to build in the same area or live the family, but not for 20 years, not for 30 years, maybe for 400 years, because this is not a very new land. The people live here for thousands of the years in this area. This is ultra very important to know. This is in the regulation is development only for people know about the situation of the American project. Never think it about in the local people they live here for many years. My question is in the group development. This regulation is no people live here in La Esperanza, in Santa Marta, or in Nosara town for many years. Normally, for example, people they come to here in the last 5 years, in the last 6 years, and they try to understand what is what is the characteristics of this area, but they only focus in the one point of the view. They not investigate how working the people in the local people. This is the reason. And this is very important. This area is not subdivided in the American project and the local areas and the area for the local people. It's just one area. And if take that the decision for the one area affected another one.
Mm. So, Donald, do you think the Plan Regulador is the solution for the people in the other areas?
The Plan Regulador working very good because this is not the first time that if we compare, for example, with the different Plan Reguladores, for example, of Nicoya, they focus in the very specific areas. For example, in Nicoya is the Plan Regulador have a different regulation, for example, for block or for group of the blocks is not the same. For example, the regulation across front to the colonial church than maybe the two blocks is southern or northern or this kind of situation. The problem here is they only put the regulations with just one point of the view, or the view is the protected zone, for example, but they no pay attention to the people. Remember, the local people was here for 100 years. And this is the situation. For example, when this kind of the regulation for the Plan Regulador, of course, working very good, is ultra very necessary, but inclusive is complete in the different directions, in the different kind of the planification than the new regulations we will have here. This is ultra very important. The Plan Regulador and the new regulation will be two different things. The new regulation doesn't have any kind of the urban study, but the Plan Regulador is more professional study, and with the advantage they have a very specific solution for each area, but this one not.
How much time until a Plan Regulador is ready?
For example,
in your opinion, okay. I want to know your guess.
Okay.
How long do you think it's going to be before we get that Plan Regulador?
The Plan Regulador, for example, the so fast or so low the Plan Regulador is depend more directly on the people of here. For example, if every time is the same, similar to the El Coco, similar to the Jaco, similar to the Nosara town or the Samara or the Nicoya town, is if the town have a very good organization and they say, okay, we needed the Plan Regulador, the different institutions, the INBU, the municipality, they will have before. If the people from here say, oh, we don't need it, maybe in 10 years or maybe in the 20 years.
Okay.
If not, we can to have very, very, very soon. The normal is we can to have the Plan Regulador in the minimum 2 years.
So, do you think it'll be ready in 3 years?
I hope.
I hope so too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm betting with Josue at the municipality. He tells me 3 years for sure it'll be done.
Yes, it's because it's ultra very important. The Plan Regulador, yes, will be the correct solution because they will have an intelligent solution for each area with the all points of the view, and they involve the community and the necessities of each community, because I repeat, it's not the necessities, or this is not the problems of La Esperanza, that people live in the Guiones area, for example. It's
different areas.
Yes, it's different areas.
So, if I'm understanding it right, you do like the temporary building regulations. Your main issue is the subdivision and specifically the various areas, because we have very different areas around here. Exactly. That's your main thing. What about the height restrictions? What's your opinion on that?
For example, for the height restrictions, I think in my point of view, it's good. It's not bad. For example, the problem is this kind of restriction in the format have the reduction have the right the regulation is not good. Why? Because, for example, it's not the same if you will build the house or the 15 meter in the very close to the beach than if you can to build the one house or the 15 meter, but in the one mountain, for example, in the back, you have in the back the one mountain and not affected, for example, the view for the rest of the people. This is the first. And the second, for example, the regulation they talked about the crown beam, and about the roof. If you can to build the roof similar of the cathedral or the 20 meter high, the regulations say, okay, no worry. And this is the situation I can understand about why have a wrong details about the bad right, the redaction is very bad.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple questions that people are unfamiliar or they don't fully understand. So I'll ask you this. Can you describe what a setback is and the types of setbacks that we have here?
For example, the one most important, for example, the setbacks is we need to think it in the different groups of the setback. The one of the existing setback, for example, here right now is the municipality want to have the 9 meter of the setback for the center of the road.
Okay, so there's a road setback, and it's 9 meters from the center of a municipality road.
Oh, the municipality road.
Okay,
exactly.
What if it's a servidumbre and not a municipality road?
Okay, for the this is ultra very important because not but when I talk at the center of the road, remember is not the road you can to see in the place is the road you need to check it in the cadastral plan. In your cadastral plan, in your plan of the cadastro, you need to check it whether this the real wide or the road, and you need to say, okay, this is the setback, but in the relation of my cadastral plan. Is not, for example, in the place, because in the many times they build the road in the more for the right or more for the left, for example. This is first. Second, about the servidumbre, the regulation is different. For example, because the servidumbre is not the public road, is the special access for the each place. You can to build, for example, the fence next to the servidumbres area, for example. But for me, I recommend, this is my recommendation. For example, that people build the 2.5 meter for the border or the servidumbre. This is for having enough space for example, for the garden or for any things. The very important situation is about the national road. The national road, the road across front to the 506 or the Café de Paris. This road, this is ultra very important. For the central of the road is 15 meter, for example, the setback.
So like Route 160, the main road, would be a 15 meter setback. 15 meter
setback. Okay. For example, for the center for the road is 15 meter. This is ultra very important. 15 meter. The another important group, for example, for the setback is about the river or quebradas. The very special situation is with the Quebrada Corea. Quebrada Corea is in the key section. For example, ultra very important this quebrada because it's very small, but affected many properties in the American project. The setback is 10 meter.
Okay,
is 10 meter. But for the rest of the quebradas, for example, and the river here is 15 meter. 15 meter. Okay.
So
But
10 or 15 meters.
15 meter, yes. It's ultra, for example, for La Quebrada, the Subibaja is 15 meter, for example. But what happened, for example, when you, this is ultra very important. When I say this distance, this is the normal water have the river. For example, the normal water have the river is not, of course, ni for the dry season, ni for the rainy season. This is ultra very important. And another important situation is about the Nosara River. In the Nosara River is very complicated because, for example, talking about the 15 meter in the situation of the Nosara River is more complicated. Why? Because the Nosara River is not a river changed a lot of the weight. For example, this year having the specific point, and in the next year maybe have a 2 meter more. 10 meter less. This situation in this situation is ultra very important to talk directly with the people for the Minai about the gate to the each property with the setback. The very important situation is when I talked about the 10 meter or the 15 meter is when suppose the property next to the river or the quebrada is regular flat, for example. But when you have a lot of inclination, the setback is 50 meter.
Okay. Can I try to say it back to you? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to a road setback on a standard municipality road, like in between the sections, in the Playa de Nosara area, or whether you're Delicious or Esperance or whatever it may be, 9 meters.
Yes, from the center of the road.
If it's a main national highway, 15 meters.
Yes.
And if it's a Servidumbre, essentially nothing.
Yes, yes, exactly. The recommendation is 2.5 meter. This is for the half a more space, for example.
Okay, 2.5 meters. Okay.
Exactly.
Now, the other type of setback would be concerning rivers. Mm-hmm. And what you're saying, if it's just a basic, what they call quebrada, mm-hmm. then most likely it's going to be 10 or 15 meters.
10, but this is ultra very important. When I say 10 is, for example, in this area, in the American project, only exists a one quebrada Korea, have the regulation of the setback of the 10 meter. I don't know if exists another quebrada, but for me it's only the quebrada Korea, because the rest of the river or the quebradas is 15.
Okay, so and then there's the third rare option of if it's on, say, the Rio Nosara itself, that is very complicated. Yes. And if there's an actual steep incline,
yes,
it's 50 meters.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now that's helpful information.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so moving forward, let me ask you, what's your opinion on Nosara town itself? Because it floods a lot, and there's talk of moving many of the residents or the homes that get affected by flooding, just moving the town somewhere, like just relocating them. What's your opinion on that?
For example, this is not the first time this situation here in Costa Rica. The very example is for example in Ciudad Neyli in the south zone. The government, they moved, for example, many houses, many neighborhoods, because have a problems with the water. The same situation is with Ciudad Cortez, also in the south zone, because have a lot of problems with the water, for the rivers, for the many things. In Nosara, I think it's a very good solution, because normally the areas have a problems with the water, inclusive are a new areas. It's not very old. It's not very old towns or very old neighborhoods. For example, is I remember when I came to here, the areas by the place, Hollywood, or by the cemetery didn't exist a lot of houses. Right now, there exists a lot of houses, and these people have a lot of problems because for the many years these areas didn't have houses. Is because the people live here, they know have a problems with the water. Right now, you understand, doesn't have enough space in the Nosara town for build houses. The people, they decided to buy properties in this area and build houses. And also in the menu, what happened, for example, also with many of these houses doesn't have permits of the construction, are illegal, and of course the municipality doesn't have enough time for the check the each house in this area. For the reason is growing a lot of, inclusive they build houses in the areas, have a lot of possibilities to have a water in the land. I think it's an ultra very good idea and it's very necessary to do. For me, the dique is not a solution for Nosara. Why? Because for the characteristics of the land, it's not possible to build the dique. Technical, it's not possible to build a dique working in Nosara. Why? Because the river of Nosara and the town of the Nosara are in the very same level. And if you build a dique, it's a canal. And how happened with the water for the rain are in the very low land, can't to have the access for nothing. Because in the many times the problem no is only the water for the river, is the water can't to go to the river because the level of the river is so very high. This is the reason. Yes, with the dique no will be the solution. It's not possible. It's not possible. Any kind of the dique, the best dique of the world can to work. For you, if you want to have a dique, you can to have the solution of the many of to do in the northern countries. For example, is for the low level, you need to have a pumps for the put the water in the dique. This is the solution, but it's not here. It's not possible.
Wow. Okay. So let me ask you this, Donald. You've been here a long time. You've designed a lot of houses. You've worked on hotels. Mm-hmm. Your life is Nosara. This is where everything is for you, right? I want to know what you dislike about Nosara. We already know the likes. Everyone already knows the nature, and everyone knows
exactly.
The beach, and everyone knows all these things. But what do you dislike?
For example, for me, exists one details I dislike, and this is ultra very important, is the road. But when I talk about the road, I'm not thinking in me. This is ultra very important. I have a car. I can to drive. It's no problem. No, I drive with my wooden clothes. No affect the dust. I live very far for the roads. I'm not affecting my dust. In my office is very hermetic. I'm not affecting the dust. Okay, but the situation is I can't to think only in me. I need to think it in the very important situation. Remember when a few years ago I went to Nicoya in the public bus transportation. It's very hard. For example, I remember why? Because first, the road was very bad. The units of the bus very old. Of course no air conditioner. The dust is inside to the bus, very very hot, and the bus moved a lot of, for example, for the holes, for the many things. But the problem is with me. I know the old guy. I know the problem is I saw a lot of mothers with babies inclusive one woman, they have a baby in the from the hospital on Nicoya. She came to here to Nosara in the bus with the baby, maybe on only 12 hours. Yes, it's not easy. For example, for her, it's not easy for her. The baby with the dust, with the movement, with the all things, and of course, I saw pregnant woman. I saw many old people, very sick. The whole situation. This is a very important details. Is when we thinking in the road now, oh, it's amazing to drive in the ATV, for example, in the new ATV, in the with the Max, and this is my options to drive in the ATV or in the motorcycle or in this kind of situation. If I don't like, I can to go to the another place with the highways or the anything. But that these people is not the options. It's part of their life. This is ultra very important. It's not easy for these people. For example, when half a one family is sick in the at night, need to go to Nicoya for this bad road. They if have an emergency, they doesn't have enough money for call to the private doctor and say, oh, excuse me, my mother or my son or my daughter is sick. I pay you anything, any moment. Oh, please call me the taxi aéreo, the airplane, and go to the CIMA. No, they need to find the one a car, because normally they doesn't have a car. And they need to Nicoya very slow for the road is very bad with the emergency. This is not easy. For example, every time when we think in the road, it's not important to think it in us, in me. No, we need to think it in the people have a lot of problems with this situation. People have a problems with, for example, with the back, and need to go in this kind of the bus and to Nicoya. Very old woman with a lot of sicks and very uncomfortable, or the men's in the very old men's in the very uncomfortable bus to Nicoya, to the hospital, to this kind of the situation. This is one. The another important details is about the health, the public health service. We have here ultra very bad public health service. We have ultra very good a private service. The private doctor here is amazing. The service is amazing. The old people know it's a very good service. You can to find anything, but of course with money. But these people doesn't have money for pay the doctors, private doctor. They need to use the public, the health public service. And for example, here in Nosara, this is just one doctor, and they only have the attention 4 days per week. It's no easier for they to go to Nicoya, and after that to came to here, because here we doesn't have laboratory, we doesn't have a good pharmacy, we don't have a lot of doctors, and the problem is the population growing, because of course the many people came to here to work more in the tourist area, but we have the same service, exactly copy paste of the same service of the health than 10 years ago, when with 15 years ago. I'm sorry, with the advice open, exactly we have the same service.
Wow.
This is ultra very important, but it's not the same population. We have the 2 or 3 times more of the population here.
Donald, we have lots of restaurants in this area. Please tell me your 3 favorite restaurants.
Okay, for me, the 3 favorite restaurants, for example, the one is the Pacifico Azul. I love the Pacifico Azul. They have a ceviche, the Caribbean ceviche, amazing. It's also very good. The second one is amazing. Is the Gilded Iguana. They have the beef tenderloin, amazing. It's very good. The service also magic. And the third one is the terraza. The terraza is close to the gas station next to the BCR. Yes, it's at night. It's amazing. They have a very good food, very good service, very good price. And of course, I'm sorry, but it's so very important to talk. It's about the situation of the Rossi's. The Rossi's restaurant is amazing. The food is very have a very good taste, very good flavor. That's the food, and the service is amazing. It's amazing.
So, are there any thoughts or opinions or anything you'd like to share while you have this format?
Mm-hmm. No, this format is amazing. I like it because, for example, it is very organized. Your system to the talk it, for example, about the people for the very important topics. Ultra very important topics about the Nosara is ultra very know to know the different point of the views to the other people. This is ultra very important for me. It's amazing this place for the communicate with the rest of Nosara.
Well, thank you for coming in, and also thank you for sharing a lot of your insights today. People listening, a lot of us are going to learn some good stuff. So thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right.